Hey fellow flowers, Violet here and welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make the spider gimp keychain. So here are some other variations that I've done with this stitch so you can kind of see the effect if you were to do this with different sizes. Here is another one that I made if you just do a 2-strand wall versus a 3-strand. But yeah, it's kind of a cool effect. I think it reminds me of spider eyes. So that's why I'm calling this the spider stitch. But yeah, I was just messing around with the string, trying to create something new for you guys. So I really hope that you like this. I can't wait to see what you guys make with this and do spin-offs and everything. So please always tag me in your creations on Facebook or Instagram. And let's get into this tutorial. So to start, I have 3 pieces of black gimp and then I have 1 piece of red. Now, let me just preface that this start is very similar to the pineapple stitch. I do have a video that you can check out if you want to see a more slowed down or a different technique. So I'll post that video down below. But for what we're going to be doing here, we're going to do a little bit of a shortcut just so that I can get into showing you the spider stitch. Now, don't mind the colors on here, but I have for my lanyard here, my 2 longer strands are black. Then I have 1 red, and then going horizontally through the middle, I also have another black there. So just in case you wanted to copy what I'm doing here, but you can see you're going to need your shorter strands to be 30 inches and then your longer strands to be 60. And we're going to arrange them just like in that diagram. But first, let's make sure that we even out all of the strands so that we are working from the middle point of each string. So I'm just going to find both ends of the black and pull it, making sure that everything is even for all of the strands. So now I can arrange it like so, like in the diagram. And you'll see that I'm making this kind of like star asterisk sort of pattern. And then I'm going to place my thumb down on top of this to hold it all in place. And I'll start with the primary strand, which is the strand which is on top. So I'll pull this top string here, and I'm going to actually fold it over the 3 strands and down to the bottom left, like so. And then this other strand will fold up into the top right. So I have now 2 loops crossing over those 3 side strings. And from here, I want to weave those side strings. So the first string should be the black strand, which is here on the right. So if your strings moved around, just make sure you straighten them up. But starting from the right, gather this black strand, and I'm going to cross over this first loop and under the loop which is further away. So over and under. And then I'm going to do the same for the red string, which is kind of next in the lineup. So let me just make this a little bit more obvious what I'm doing. Grab this red string and I'll go over this first black here closest to it, under the one which is farther away, doing the same motion but going the opposite direction. Then next is going to be that center black strand. I'm going to cross over the first loop underneath the second one, then for his buddy across the way, over and under towards the other side. Now for the next red, this will also cross over the first strand underneath the second. And then we can finish off with this black strand, which is a little bit longer. And I find it's easier if you just insert a little portion of it and then pull the slack through. Kind of helps to make the weaving process go a little bit faster if you're working with longer strands. Next, I'm just pulling it all tightly together. And there we have started the lanyard. Now, here's what it looks like on the back if you want to check it and make sure that it looks the same on yours. Like I said, this is about the same start as the pineapple stitch. So if you just use your start from there, you should wind up with the same result. And next, just another thing to check. On the ends here, we should have our longer strands because this is what we're going to be using to make kind of that spider eye effect. This stitch involves the straight stitch. So I'm going to look for this little black space right here, and I'll bring the topmost string down to there. And then there's a little black space up here, and the bottom strand will go up to there. So I'm just making 2 loops by bringing those strands directly across. Next, you'll notice that my loose strand is on the top left. So I'm going to start from the top left of my horizontal strings. So this black string on the left will cross over that first loop closest to it and underneath the one farther away. And again, this is a little bit of a longer string, so I like to just fold a little portion of it and then pull all the slack through. But this is effectively the same as finding the end of the string like this and then just going over and under. So whichever method you prefer, whichever you're more comfortable with. But now I'm going to weave the next row, which is my black strings. This one's going to cross over and under towards the right. And then we'll do the opposite for this string, over and under towards the left. And then for my next red, over the loop closest and under the one farther away. And then we can finish off with this last long black piece, which I'm just going to make a little loop, feed it under, and then pull the slack through, just to make it a little easier. Okay, so from here, we're not going to pull it tightly yet because we want to start doing that spider technique. So the way that we're going to get that is, this is similar to the mummy stitch. With the mummy stitch, you passed behind your horizontal strings. For this, you're actually going to grab the string which is on the end, so this should be that longer black strand, and we're going to cross over top the two side strands. And you'll notice that there's another black string on the other side. This other black long string was right here, and we're going to cross over and under and kind of go right where that strand is. So we're going to kind of think of it as we're switching places for these strings, and when we're switching places, we are crossing over like that. Now I'll find the other black strand who just got kind of kicked out of his place here. And he's going to do the same thing. This one's going to cross over the two strands on the left. So crossing over. And then we'll insert him over and under towards the right, exactly where that other strand was. So over and under, straight to there. And we can pull this through. Just like so. Now you'll notice that on my left side, my strings got a little tangled. So we want to make sure that the two horizontal strings are behind. So I'm just going to make sure that these are behind, and then I can pull my loop through. So if the same thing happens to you, it's okay, it's an easy fix, just untangle your strings. Next, I'm pulling it tight by pulling on the main strands. Then I pull on all of the side strings, and then I put in a little extra effort to tighten up those longer strands who just got switched. And you should have something that looks kind of like this now. And next we can do another stitch. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Bring this strand directly down to the little space down here on the bottom left. Then this primary string on bottom will fold up and over to the top right. And we'll take notice, my loose strand is on the right, this one here. Now I'm on the right. It alternates when you're doing a straight stitch. So I'm going to start from the top right. So starting with this top right black strand, I'm just going to fold my little loop and then cross over and under, and I'll pull my slack through. And then I'm going to pull the red strand from the left side. And this one needs to cross over the black loop closest to it and under the one farther away. And then for this one, we're going to go over and under towards the left. And then this one, do the same thing, but the opposite direction. Then for the red, and finally we can finish off with this one. So over and under, going this way. And then again, before we pull it all tightly, we're going to do what is going to give us that spider eye effect by switching the two horizontal strands which are on the ends. So let me just kind of get this halfway tightened just so I'm not working with a big old mess of strings, but I'm not going to pull it tightly all the way. So this horizontal strand which is on the end over here on bottom, this one's going to cross over top these two strands on the right, And then I'm going to feed it over and under, over this first black strand on the right, underneath the loop on the left, exactly where the other strand is, the last strand on the other side. Then for here, we'll pull this one, and this one will go down on bottom. So he's going to cross over the 2 strands on the left, over these 2 on the left, and it needs to go right in here under this pocket, over and under, and voila. Next, I'm good to pull this thing all tightly together. So to do that, I'll pull on my main strings first, then I'll pull my side strands, and then I'll put a little extra effort to pull at those spider strands. And even just after those 2 stitches, you can have a look and you can kind of see that this spider eye effect is starting to come into effect. And it'll look really cool in a couple of minutes. So just keep with it and I'll show you what I have when I'm done. Now, there you have it. This is kind of what it's going to look like. You'll have like a series of eyes kind of looking out at you. So it's kind of fun. But now let's get into how to finish this lanyard. So I'm going to use the macrame finishing technique, which I've been loving recently. I have a whole video on this. But essentially what we're going to do is you'll cut a short strand, just 8 inches of whatever color you want to finish off with. Lay it parallel to your working ends, and then form a little loop, or like the letter U. And then use your non-dominant hand to pinch that against the strands. And then with the long end of your slack on this new strand that we've added, we're just going to wrap around that loop and around the working ends. And you'll just go around a couple of times and you can kind of straighten up your loops as you go. And every time you wrap around, try to pull it a little bit more tightly so that you can lock down those ends. And once you go around a couple of times and you get it to a point where you're happy with it, the last step is to feed this long end through the little loop on bottom. So if you did it right, you should have a little loop on bottom, and then you should have your slack poking up on top. So if you have a look, there's my loop right here, and then my slack is up on top. So I'll take this long end here. See, there's my little loop. And I'll take this long end and we'll feed it through that loop. And then just kind of hold it. I don't know how to use my hands. Okay, let me use my thumb. And then I'll take the slack and pull up on the strand like so. And you can straighten it up, push it up against the body, get it nice and how you want it. But yeah, that's essentially all we do. You can see it's kind of a cooler finish. And then we will trim this off and we'll be good to go. I'll just cut here, and then you also want to make sure to trim the slack or the little short string that you had on top. But yeah, there you have it. That is how to make the spider eye stitch for Gimp keychains. If you'd like to see how to add a key hook, this is just like a quick little bonus at the end, just in case you wanted to see me drop and fumble this key hook. No, just kidding. Nah, just kidding. Okay, so we'll open up our little key ring like so, just pushing up on it, and then we'll just insert it underneath those base strings, underneath that first stitch. There you go. I got it under one. I'm going to try to get it under the red as well. I recommend trying to get it under 2 strands at least, just so that it holds up a little bit better. And once you get it, there you go. That's all there is to it. And now you have yourself a really cool spider eye keychain, which I think is so fun, especially for Halloween. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Again, please let me know what you'd love to see from me next. And also show me what you do with this. I'd love to see your creations. Thank you so much. I will see you all in the next one. Keep blooming and bye.